Hi everybody, welcome to another 30-minute pull request where, oh, I can hear myself. Let's get rid of that. Sorry about that. Yeah, 30-minute pull request is where I give myself 30 minutes to try and go through an open issue on GitHub and try and write some code to solve it and raise a pull request before the timer runs out. Now, I'm not doing massively great at managing to do it before my timer runs out, so I'm going to have another go today and we'll see how we do. So what I'm going to do actually is, I'm just going to jump straight in and I'm going to just try and do a quick intro and then get into it. Let me turn on my switcher. So I switch over to my browser. So I'm going to start from, this is the GitHub repository for this streaming channel. And it's a place where I kind of have a load of information about what I'm trying to do here with my streaming and what I'm trying to achieve. And there's links to the different platforms. So I'm actually streaming on Twitch, Periscope, and YouTube all at the same time now. So if you want to watch in a different place, or I'm trying to hit different audiences, and also find a decent way to kind of get a bit of exposure for what I'm doing here. So there's some links from here. I'm kind of just going to keep using this repository to store information in. And there's some details in there. But one thing I've just added is a project board where I can track some potential issues that I might be able to do in 30 minutes, and then also track pull requests that I've raised. And at the end, I'm going to go through the raised pull requests and kind of catch up on where things are. So let's click through to this issue here, which is one I've kind of got queued up that I'm going to have a look at today. So this one it's a reasonably old issue. It's about 18 months old. Somebody came into Dask Distributed and asked, using the SSH cluster, is it possible to be able to specify your username differently on different machines that you're SSHing to? So SSH cluster in Dask is a cluster manager that you can give it a list of host names, and it will SSH into those host names. It will run Dask workers, and it will connect them back to wherever the Dask scheduler is. And that's the Dask scheduler is the first host in the list, and then the workers will be all the rest of the hosts. So it's quite common to set like localhost as the first host, and then have some other machines as your workers. But this user said that their username isn't consistent across the machines that they want to use. So can they set per worker specifications? Matt replied saying it's reasonable. Would they like to work on it? And they said yes with some guidance, and then we didn't hear anything. So this often happens. We don't always have time to help everybody through raising a pull request. But I think enough time has passed that they're not going to come back and look at this. So I'm going to have a look at this now. So let's jump straight into the code. I'm in distributed. I'm going to go and find the SSH cluster straight away. So SSH. And the SSH cluster implements the spec cluster interface, which is a kind of default cluster manager class that we have that allows you to specify classes for your scheduler and for your workers. And then the spec cluster will kind of manage those. If you stay scale up and scale down, it will create instances of the worker class. And there should be a side effect of creating that instance that it creates a worker somewhere. So the way this works is we've got our scheduler config, we've got our workers config, we create a spec cluster here, and then we've got scheduler and worker objects up here. So we have worker process and scheduler process. They both come from the process interface here, which has just got some boilerplate stuff in. But these use async SSH, which is a library for making SSH connections in Python. And it looks like, this is for the worker, and then we also have the scheduler. So they both do something pretty similar in that they get past this self.address, and they create a new connection using async SSH, and then they run some commands through the SSH tunnel. So uname commands, starting the scheduler, that kind of thing. So I'm assuming the username kind of stuff happens around the connect. There's also there's a dictionary here called self-connect options, which is getting unpacked here into quarks of the function. So what have we got here? Let's specify quarks. Let's go and find the docs for async SSH. Very good place to look. Let's have a look at the connect. simple client. More like a class reference, don't I, really? API documentation, maybe that's it. Connect. We just saw. If you specify the host and the port, which we're doing, we're specifying the address. You could specify the port in your. These connect options, they get passed in up here, right? So they're coming in the spec. And here, connect options, and those connect options are coming in from up here. So they are a dictionary, right? So they're an empty dictionary. When you create your SSH cluster, you can add some of your own connect options. Fine, reasonable. Okay, so SSH connection options. Options which to use when establishing the SSH connection. These options can be specified either through this parameter or as direct keyword arguments to the function. I'm guessing this is doing like a quargs and they're getting passed into SSH connection options. And there's a bunch of stuff. But there's username. That's what we want. That's what this user specifically wants, is they want username. So what we want to do, I guess you could do something like setting your username. Let's make sure I'm in my Dask environment and just have IPython from distributed import SSH cluster. Okay, if I do cluster equals SSH cluster, and if I just give it a list of local host times 3, right? So 3 things on the local host. No name nor surname not provided. Yeah, it's because I got my times 3 in one place. Okay, great. I've SSH'd into my own machine, my own laptop, and started workers and things. So I should now have a cluster of 2 workers, right? So I have a scheduler and 2 workers. Yep, that makes sense. Now if I just clean up the cluster. What I want to check now, if I do cluster equals SSH cluster, and what I want is I want to specify connection options, and that's a dictionary, and I want to say username. I'm just going to set that to the username of my laptop, which was defaulting to anyway. So let's just check that. So Joe Tomlinson, we should still work. Ooh, that's already in use. I guess I didn't clean that properly. Let's just exit out of IPython and start again. For SSH cluster, yeah, I'm SSHing with my own username, and that's worked. That's fine. I do cluster. Okay, that still worked. I'm just going to test one more thing. I'm going to import that, and I'm just going to set it to a username that doesn't exist. So I'm just going to mash the keyboard in the middle of my name. Permission denied. Good, because that user doesn't exist and I don't have keys. Fine. So you can specify the connection options, but that is specifying connection options for everything. Whereas I think what I probably want, I think the way I might approach this is, instead of you giving a dictionary of connection options, you give a list of dictionaries, and that list should be the same length as your host's list. And then you can specify, it will take those, it will zip them correctly. So I'm not entirely sure how you do multiple type hints, but I'll figure that out in a minute. But what I'm going to do is, so connection options is going to be that, and I'm going to go down to here. Then we'll say something like, let's say something like, if length of hosts. Oh no, let's go if is instance connection options list if length of connection options doesn't equal length of hosts. We're going to do something like raise runtime error when specifying multiple connection options. You must provide a dictionary into a new dictionary for each address. That's fine. So you just got a little safety check there to make sure that you've got the right amount of stuff, and then we'll say connection options if is instance connection options dict. I think that should be list like that. We built it. Else connection options 0. Okay, so we're saying if it's a dictionary, pass it through. If it's a list, pass the first one through. It's maybe slightly messy, but I might think about changing that in a minute. And then we're going to also say, as workers here, we've got a dictionary comprehension. So we're enumerating through the rest of the hosts. And so we want to do the same thing here. And say connection options if it's an instance of that, else we want connection options. This needs to be I plus 1. I plus 1. Because that is, we've taken the first one for the scheduler, so the rest should be for the workers. So that should be enough there. I don't know if we need to set something else up here. How do we do Python type hints for list or dict? Yeah, I want to say something like that. Type hints multiple Oh, you can just say or. Okay. Let's say doing that or list. Does that? Not sure if that's valid Python, but it looks fine. Let's see. No, my linter is complaining invalid syntax. Okay. Actually, I think I want to say list or dict. That might need to be a list of dict or dict. Let's try running again. Okay, let's actually fix this. Tom Williamson. Okay, that worked. I got my dictionary and it just passed that through. That works, and I've got my cluster. Good. Now if I come back in again, let's try doing it without any connection options. Make sure we get a sensible default. That also seemed to be fine. Yep. And then let's go again. Okay, so this time I'm going to do connection options equals a list where the scheduler is going to get that, but then the other two are going to get nothing. Okay, that still seemed to work. The last thing I want to check is didn't mean to run that again. I want to check if I give the wrong amount of arguments. With that works. So add another one. There we go. Runtime error. I specify multiple connection options. I'm actually gonna change that to connect options. When specifying a list of, so with a list of connect options, you must provide a dictionary for each address. Yeah, makes a bit more sense, I think. Let's exit from there. Fine. I've basically done some tests there, right? And I should probably actually just put some tests in. So let's deploy SSH test SSH. So what have we got in here? Test keywords here. Test basic. There's a bunch of duplication going on, but I'm going to copy let's copy this one. I'm going to copy this test, and we'll say test list of connect options. Okay, so we're doing 3 of those. So we're going to say that's going to be a list times 3. I think I probably going to take. I might just take this from the basic test actually, because I kind of just want a basic test. I just want to assert that I've got 2 workers and that I can connect and run some code. Let's just do that and run the test. Test discovery failed. What's going on there? I might just copy that one actually. Update it like that. Not quite sure on the test discovery is failing. Might just try running this manually. If I test distributed / deploy / test / test SSH. This might be, there are some issues with running tests on a Mac. I want to see, is it that test that failed? Yeah, that was test old SSH with local that failed there. So my test passed. Let's just try running that actual test. So test list of connection options. Test, just that one. I've just written. Lovely. And then I might just say with pytest dot assert with pytest raises runtime error, and then I'm going to just try. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. That's why I was doing that. Down here. With that, let's copy that. I'm just going to make that times 4. Just want to assert that that raises if I'm not specifying the right number of things. Pass. Just run that again. Gonna pass again because it raised me a runtime error because I have the wrong number of arguments, which is fine. I might actually move that into its own test. List of connection options raises. I'm going to put a comment in here saying mismatch in length 4 does not equal 3. So yeah, I've got 2 tests. I'm going to run first test again just to make sure it passes, and then I'll run the second test. Yeah, and then that's there is like a linting error here because that's I'm gonna call it underscore because I'm not doing anything with it. Because the linter might complain. It's run black on everything. So let's check out new branch. SSH cluster multiple connect options. And we'll add everything. I'm just going to say allow SSH cluster to take a list of connect options. Git push. Right, so put that up. Do that. So okay, so this fixes 2350. Fixes 2350. It's the issue we were looking at. We're going to say yeah, I'm going to say add the. No, I'm going to say in 2350 there is a requirement for different usernames to be passed to different SSH workers. This PR enables you to optionally pass a list of dictionaries to connect options where that list must be equal length to the list of addresses and the 2 will be zipped. Okay, that's fine. And create a pull request. There we go. I've got a pull request. I made a change, did some error checking, added a little bit of logic here so that we are using either the old style or the new style. Added a couple of tests to test my new way of doing things, and the existing test should test that the old way of doing things still exists. That's it. I've done a pull request. I managed to do it in under 30 minutes. I managed to do that in 25 minutes. I'm pleased about that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come back to the pull request. And now I'm going to go to, I was expecting to get back to my, repo, because I want to start making use of this project board. So, pull request. So raised PRs, I'm going to add this now to my list of raised PRs. I like this with the project board. I didn't realize you can add a note, and then if you paste in the like bit of the URL where the pull request is, it kind of embeds it in the thing, so you can see it and you can click it and you can view it on the side. But it doesn't like muddy up the pull request. Like if I'd actually referenced it from an issue or something, it would show up in the issue that it had been referenced. So nice. It just allows me to track it from here. So the CI is going to run. Hopefully my test will pass there. And this issue should now show that I've got a pull request open that hopefully will merge it. So I just wait for someone to review that, and hopefully we'll do that. So that's kind of the end of this one. Now, what I'm just going to do before I sign off is I'm going to go through some more pull requests. I've kind of grabbed all the ones I've done in previous streams and put them in raised PRs, and we can have a look at sorting them appropriately and just kind of see what's happened. I actually, the way I've got my stream set up, if I switch back to showing you my browser, it's going to start the timer again for half an hour. So just ignore that. I apologize. I need like a way of actually controlling the timer independently of swapping scenes. So if I come back to my browser, yeah, so ignore the time. But let's have a look. So let's start from the bottom. The first one was this, add option to specify custom repo and token. This was for that label syncing action. This hasn't been touched at all. So sometimes these things happen. You raise a pull request, you have to wait quite a while for someone to get to it. Let's have a look. At GitHub corner link. This was adding a link to the Dask home chart repo so that you can actually click it and it links you back to that repo. I gave it a little while for folks to comment on it. Nobody did. I tend to look after the home chart repo anyway, so I just merged that one myself. It was just a small change, so I'm going to move that over into merge PRs. The next one was adding issue templates into Dask. Now I got like a ton of feedback on this. I touched on this a couple of different streams. I think I opened this issue not on the stream, and then I kind of got some feedback and then touched back on it in a previous stream. So I got I kind of came back, responded to things, put in my response, and then there was like a little bit more feedback suggesting could I tweak things a little bit further. I ended up pushing a few commits onto that just to kind of tweak a little bit, but I basically ended up putting in what I'd raised. It was a template for a bug report, but I kind of expanded it out so that there were actual like questions ready for folks to kind of fill in what happened, what do you expect to happen, your code for verifiable example, etc. So that one got merged. I think again I got some feedback and it was kind of all good. And then did I merge that myself? Yes, I did, but again that was this has been sat for a while, so I merged it myself after getting some positive feedback. So let's put that into merge PRs. Next up is an Opsroid one. So this is a side project that I decided to stream. And again, this was one where we were messing around with unit tests, rewriting unit tests in PyTest style rather than unit test style, and just changing some of the config and then moving some tests around. So that got merged. Again, I kind of put it in, waited for a bit. This is a project I look after, so I waited for feedback, didn't get any. and just pull the trigger. So let's move that over into merged. And then we've got switch Circle CI for GitHub Actions. Again, Dask Kubernetes, a project that I look after quite a lot. So I just switched the CI over to use GitHub Actions rather than using Circle, mainly just so we can get more speed and parallelization. And again, merge that in myself. Then what's next? We've got, oh no, what's going on? Clicking on the wrong buttons. Right, add favicon to performance report. So this is the one I did yesterday. I put this in, which adds this icon. Oh, you can't see my mouse. In the little screenshot that I took, next to where it says Dask performance report in the tab, the sort of Dask icon, which wasn't there before, and we did that by changing the underline bokeh ginger template. So I put that in. And one of the things I didn't like is that I put it in a directory that I wasn't sure was a good name. So I just said, I'm not 100% sold on where I put this, so better feedback on a better location would be appreciated. Matt came back and said, yep, that doesn't seem like a good place. Maybe this would be a good place. And was seemed happy about being able to change things in the future. So I renamed the directory, so it's now in /templates, and also gave the CI a nudge, and that ran, and everything's passed now. So I'm now waiting on somebody to come in and merge that. Now, I seem to going through all of those. It shows that I'm in a bit of a habit of merging my own pull requests, which is fine on like small projects that you look after yourself. But on a bigger project like distributed, that's got thousands of users and stuff, I'm just going to request that Matt reviews it again, because I want somebody else to merge that one, or at least come in with a positive review. It's okay, I think, to merge your own pull requests if you've got like approved reviews on them from other maintainers. But that's fine. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that sat in raised PRs. We've got the one that we raised today. I've got 3 outstanding, and I guess I don't know whether I want to go through them every time, because like this one's probably just going to sit for a while if that maintainer's not very active on their repo. So we'll see what happens with that. But I guess tomorrow I'm going to come in and have a look at the raised PRs. Maybe I need like another column for like stale pull requests where maybe they haven't looked at it for a while. But that's it. So that's my project board. If you have any suggestions or pull requests that you think I could look at in 30 minutes, please do let me know. You can find me on Twitter and GitHub and those kind of places. If you want to check out more about what I'm doing with my streaming and what's going on with that, I recommend you go to this repository. So this is Jacob Tomlinson /constrained coding on GitHub. I'm just keeping the README up to date with what I'm doing here. So thanks for watching. I hope to see you next time. And